it's an ill-formed question, but I'd really like to hear you say something about the correct relationship, tantrically speaking, to place. Clearly this place is in my mind as I ask that question, but also there's a thought, again ill-formed, that place features even in descriptions of your teaching as a Kashmir shavist. It's the Kashmiri inflection that feels like part of the mystery to me, and I wonder, as people moving into a tantric way of relating to the body of the earth, which is also our body, as you spoke to earlier, what might be important for us to maintain an awareness of, and are there places more conducive to certain practices or certain ways of being, or the opposite of that, places that might deplete us or challenge us in that way?
Okay, so Tesco is not good, Sainsbury. I never said Tesco is not good for anything. I said just for sitting down.
Yeah.
You know, it's air conditioning, it's air blowing, you know, people with the trolleys. It's not convenient. It's not really, really yogic. And I've never seen in the scriptures it's been mentioned. So, unless you really, really, really hard push, then I would find a quiet aisle where nobody ventures. You know, just sort of temporarily somebody comes over, just, I'm not a beggar. Don't put a hat. Again, what more conducive, what is less conducive? These are kind of, it's not really a rocket science. We already know that what is conducive, it's where we feel good. You know, so this is the first, where we simply feel good. You know, it could be our favorite park. If you don't have too many movements, that would affect people passes by too much. And if the movements are gentle, you know, they might think that you're doing sitting down Tai Chi. So safe. You might even put a sign. In this case, you might as well put a hat. You know, it's like, to tell the truth is that, yes, at some point, what is most conducive? But it's like, if you have enough of equivalent of LSD, everything is conducive. You know? It's just like, wherever you go, you know, the fun is there, the trip is there, you know. So that is also good to understand. It's good to know that no place is where, what is it again? I have to work on that one.
Never not there.
Never not, there's no place that, never not there, where Ananda is not there. Bliss is there. So this is already reassuring. But of course, we have to also consecrate our places. So at some point, even the outfit for meditation is that kind of attitude, you know. Like, we go to work, you know, okay, I don't have much experience on that, but I know that many of my friends did, and when you go to work, I remember them saying that, like seeing them after work, you know, like they loosen up the tie and this. But maybe take off the jacket, right? Maybe take off the tie completely. But like, okay, that, I see you in the park. You didn't come here to play golf, right? Or do something else. Obviously, coming from work, you go to exercise, like people go to the gym and they'll this like that, like sort of like style, like now the deltas are getting bigger, so like I can open tank top, sort of like I'm getting shaped up, so no need to hide. You want to show it, right? So we do go and we make an effort to look good. So why not to look good in meditation, right? Not that you're impressing anyone there, you're impressing yourself. So to have that attitude is healthy, it's good. And when the place for spiritual practice is consecrated, then it will become the place where your energy will get accumulated with time. Each time, each setting, it's like a bank account. It's like literally you put in and it grows, the dividends, it's like expands. It's there. You know that it may sound a little presumptuous and kind of like thought of showing off, but people used to come to a place where I've lived or worked as a painter, and of course these also were places where I sat a lot, and they would just go like, wow, I bought the same vase, but in your place it just looks like completely alive, It's almost animated, Like the same things and just everything, because even objects, even inanimate matter absorbs vibration because it's all consciousness. Okay, it's more inert, infinitely more inert. The carpet is probably more alive than the granite. It's after all, if it's a real wool, it's more conductive, right? And there's more electricity going on. But everything, the walls, everything, the whole place is getting soaked with that energy. The energy is released in meditation. Energy one accesses. Language here is really playing subordinate, supportive role. We're trying to put something into the language which is very, very, very subtle. So when we speak of the place, consecrating place for meditation, it's a luxury that if one can afford, it's a great thing. So that eventually one's whole place of living becomes that. Or someone might say, well, what, everything I do is meditation. I'm totally up for that. I totally agree that that's the spirit. Ideally, ultimately, that's the spirit. But whether that is so immediately, whether that is so with most of us, whether that is already happening, that is arguable. So therefore, consecrating place where that sitting can take place, where that accumulated energy, where that also, some days are better than others. Some days you come into that place and the place alone will hold you. Some days you come out of your center and you come into that and suddenly you feel restored. It's simple, you go to your own place where you spend most time doing something you love, will already have these vibrations, will already have this energy, will already have that frequency, it will carry that and it will reflect back to you immediately as soon as you come in contact with. It's like Eugène Delacroix is a great French painter of the Romantic period of the 19th century. In his autobiography he wrote, actually this is not autobiography, sorry, it's the journals, the famous journals, that there's this passage where he says that when I come to my studio and if I feel lacking of inspiration, I'm tired of this world already there, he was complaining that the world out there was too much. Little did he know. It's like living in Paris, in Saint-Germain quarters, right? In the 19th century, right? Complaining. Well, he's all over the place and he doesn't have peace of mind that needed to create. But then he comes and he takes his palette. You know, a palette is where painters mix their colors. And of course today painters use everything, slab of, you know, granite, glass or glass, wood, anything. But imagine, you could just imagine this palette, handmade, with a balance, crafted by the artisans, you know, which he used a lot of times, scraped it with a palette knife. So it's, I'm sure, has this shield-like quality glowing. My palette was like that, it's still like that. I can imagine, you know, like, and he says that in his diaries that when I take that palette in my hand, I feel like an ancient warrior, you know, who put on his armor, who put on his, you know, full armor, the outfit. And it's like, whoa, the spirit of the ancestor speaking off again. So, of course, what this is, you know, for someone who is not, does not have that sensibility, it's like plank of wood, right? Maybe patched up a bit, okay, has some patina and has a funny shape, right? But again, you see, again, anything, we know that. When we come in contact with certain objects which are invested not just with memory, it's not just about memory, it's actually about energy. We're speaking about energy here. And that energy is there that we're talking about. So I followed that as a matter of fact. I had my meditation clothes, you know. My wife, we can tell you, it has a secret name. You know, we can break the secret now. It used to be called flying pants. They're flying pants, yeah, because I put on these pants and I'm ready to fly. Take off. So that's about the place and about the, it's not the attachment, it's not even a sentiment. It's a matter of what it represents. Other than that, I don't know if question also contains that, you know, like where we go, you know, company we keep. I don't know if that part of the question is, I don't know if we're only talking about walls and interiors and stuff like that, you know. I anytime prefer condoms shop than to Tesco, you know, because it's more fun, right? You walk along some nice furniture. But then there are some more fancy antique shops, you know, and condom looks a bit commercial compared to. There's always something we can compare to. Some places holier than others. Some places, you know, like, yes, okay, this looked nice, you know, it has like a Zen-like furniture and felt very, very soothing, you know. But then you go to the real place of worship and it's like, wow, just like you feel it there. So, yes, these places absorb energy. They hold, they vibrate. Some of these places are found in places when that energy was already harnessed. And we've traveled in the States and there's a lot of that, you know, like vortexes, you know, like you go to Sedona, they're really proud about their vortexes. You go down to Southern California, there's vortexes, you know. And at that time, traveling with the family, 2 small kids, constantly on the road, I was so much in the vortex that I'm like, yeah, it's really, really happening. But I'm like, you know, we've been traveling non-stop for the last several months. And of course you're in a vortex. So, but then, you know, you step into another one, it's like, let's unwind. You know? So you see, this is where, when people, you know, like when I go to Himalayas, then I really begin to meditate, you know. When I do this, and I go and like really do, this is what I discourage. It's like here and now, whatever the conditions are, whatever my life is, it matters not. Whatever cave I can find in my own life, you know and rest assured that your consciousness dwells in the cave of your heart. This is the most sacred place of all. Keep going there. Keep returning there and rest there. revel there, revel there. So that's the place. So that is one and the only place, really, there is. All other places are reflections of that. We have preferences at a superficial level, but the one who is really speaking now will tell you that ultimately, even when we complain, we know that deep down we are always at ease, always at peace, once that place is known to us. Once we found that place again. Once we have found that place. And there's no more sacred place.